blooper reel of how messed up I did everything. Hi, my name is Nick, and that'll be blooper number 1. That's for next video. My wife is so lovely. I just decided to. I'm an idiot. This is gonna be a really long video. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Expelled. Here the threat of being a. Hi, my name is Nick, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing Ready Player One, and we're going to take the book and compare it to the trailer. I noticed actually that not a lot of people have been comparing the book in the trailer, the movie that's coming out in March 2018. So I wanted to actually kind of compare the two, so that way we can kind of have a deeper discussion about it. So the movie Ready Player One is being directed by Steven Spielberg, and it is going to come out in March 2018. I want to let you know ahead of time that there might be some spoilers in this video. I'm going to try to contain them to the end of the video, so that way I can give you like an ample warning, so that way you can actually enjoy the first part of the video, because I know a lot of people haven't actually read the book from what I've seen through various people just commenting on it. The book itself is amazing. I love the book. It's I'm actually new to the fan base. I just picked it up recently. As you can tell on the top by the sticker that says movie about to be released by Steven Spielberg. I myself, when I started reading it, I'll be honest, the first 50 or 60 pages in, I was kind of off about it. I didn't know if I was going to like it, and it seemed just to crawl through a lot of character development, which happens in any book. But once it passed the point of introducing Wade and his background and that he's a high schooler and everything, it started to really come together, and I really enjoyed everything from that point forward. I enjoyed the whole book, not to say I didn't enjoy the beginning. It's good to see the thick backstory that the book has. For anybody that doesn't know, you can look up the synopsis online of the book, or I guess, would it be the summary? No, not the summary. That would tell you the whole book. The synopsis tells you a little piece, right? I think so. So moving forward, this is going to be for a lot of the book lovers like myself, so that way we can kind of build a discussion on this. I've watched the trailer probably about 30 times by now, between probably just 15 times myself on YouTube, just playing it when I have spare time on breaks at work, stuff like that. And then I've watched the Comic-Con panel with Ernie Klein, who's the author, and Steven Spielberg's there. They have Ty, who plays Wade, and they have the girl who plays Artemis. They had a few other people there, I think producers, and that was really neat to watch. And the audience Q&A actually kind of like, I was, not to say upset about the audience Q&A, but I wanted a book lover to be there. Do you know what I mean? Like, you want somebody that is going to ask the hard-hitting questions, and not that they probably maybe even had answers at that point, because from what I've heard and read, they haven't even really finished the movie yet, and they still have a lot of work to do, which is good, because I mean, you want a well-polished end product, especially with movies, and especially with book adaptations. And that's the thing, this isn't going to be a direct crossover. This isn't going to be a direct copy of the book. It's going to be an adaptation. And that's what we're kind of get into here with the video, is we're going to talk about how parts of that trailer that we saw, the Ready Player One trailer, was from the book almost identical, and then other parts were kind of a mixed bag of things, a conglomerate, if you will, of different parts of the book. So not only did I watch the Comic-Con trailer like everybody else, not only did I listen to the panel and the Q&A, but I also watched a few YouTubers, more than a few, like probably 6 or 7 different YouTubers, give their review on the trailer. And everybody, almost everybody that I've heard from is like, this is like nostalgia the movie. And a little bit of me, I understand where they're coming from. Like, I know that there's a lot of Easter eggs in this trailer. It's kind of ironic to say that, because it is a movie based around an Easter egg, but at the same time I'm upset because it's so much more than that. It's the Oasis. It's this virtual reality world, and people can be any avatar they want. It's not that they're adding in these characters as Easter eggs, it's that people are actually these characters. I mean, in the trailer we see Harley Quinn, we see Gandalf, we see a lot of people are arguing between Deathstroke and Deadpool. I want to say that would be Deathstroke, because WB is the ones that are at the helm of this movie, Warner Brothers, and Steven Spielberg and Ernie Klein and everybody have a complete access to all of the Warner Brothers library. So as we know, Warner Brothers has DC, and Warner Brothers has Lord of the Rings, Tomb Raider. But the good news about the movie, though, even if it is a direct adaptation, the author, Ernie Klein, is actually the co-writer of the screenplay. So you know that if it's in the author's hands, that you can kind of feel safe. If all of the judgment has to go through him, then I feel a little bit better about it, even though some of the trailer I'm actually a little disappointed with. And that's using strong language. I'm actually really excited, and the trailer really got me pumped up. But at the same time, I'm like, ooh, I want to nitpick this, and ooh, I want to nitpick that. So this video, I'm going to nitpick a little bit, but I absolutely love this movie. I love the book. So it's just trying to build discussion and see where things go, and kind of like look into the movie and see where they could go with these different things. So in the very beginning of the trailer, you see the stacks, how the book describes. So it's really nice. You see Wade in the very beginning. He's sliding down the pole in the back. I mean, assuming that he's going to his hideout to log on to the Oasis, which as he's sliding down these poles and he's climbing down the stack, actually passes by a lady's window who's dancing on a pole. And it's really funny. It's kind of maybe, I don't know if they're going to pursue it exactly in the movie. It might be a little too sexual for the movie. I'm not sure what rating they're going for. But I know a part of the book hits on how in the Oasis, like you can do anything. Like Wade ends up being a call center employee for like tech support. But girls and guys can sell themselves online if they wanted to. And that's what you kind of see, like, you know, in the window as Wade's passing by, you can see the lady dancing. So it's kind of like a aside from that part of the book, maybe. In the background, everybody's been commenting on this, the pure imagination that's going in the background from Willy Wonka. It like just sends goosebumps down your spine. Like the book itself, on the very front, it's explained as Willy Wonka meets the Matrix. And I can't think of another way to explain it better than that. It is exactly that. Any person that's a fan of like 80s pop culture or video games, I'm a big fan of D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, and it's a big part of the book, which I was really excited about. It kind of like, when you find things that you're really into in the book, it kind of just draws you in a little more. There's the DeLorean from Back to the Future, Ghostbusters is in there, Knight Rider is in there. It's really, it's great because it like, you feel really emotionally invested with properties that you really love. My big thing that nobody's discussed yet is innovative online industries, who are the bad guys in the book. And obviously that's going to cross over to the movie. What you notice when Wade's in his hideout in the van, when he's putting on his visor and the haptic gloves, it has the IOI logo on them. And in the book, like it makes a part of the book where, I mean, IOI is like an evil conglomerate corporation that like watches everybody. So it's like the fact that Wade is using his Oasis gear from IOI is kind of odd in context of the book, and people that read the book will understand what I mean. Why would he be using that company's gear from the very beginning is kind of confusing to me. Maybe that changes as it goes down the road. I know he does upgrade his gear in the book, so that's really neat to hear exactly how his gear upgrades. Another good point is Wade is actually really poor. His parents died, and he lives with his aunt, and he goes to school online with the Oasis. He uses the school-issued Oasis gear, so it's all kind of like run down and crummy. The IOI stuff looks brand new, which is confusing to me. Another thing to talk about with the whole high school Wade getting his gear stuff, I've heard that Wade is not in high school in this, like he's 20, so the whole first part of the book where it kind of establishes his character is definitely off kilter, if that's the truth, that he's actually 20, so it won't be the same as the book, which I kind of wonder where they're going to go with that then, because it was, I think in my opinion, it was a big character development that he was in high school and that he had to graduate high school. He needed to get enough credits to graduate high school, so it'll be interesting to see where they take it from there. Moving on to the next part of the video, we get into Ogg's birthday party, which was really amazing. It's his 73rd birthday party that he throws in the Oasis. Harley Quinn, Deathstroke, Gandalf. You can all see them and little bits and pieces while he's walking through the club, which is really neat. Next, after that scene, is a scene featuring the Iron Giant, and standing in front of him, people seem to think that might be Parzival, which is Wade's character in Oasis. It's kind of odd to see Iron Giant. He was in the book. It was featured as one of the robots in the book. I'll explain more on that later in the spoiler section of the video. But during the panel, Steven Spielberg says he plays a very big role, which is like number 2 issue that I have with the trailer. He didn't play such a big role in the book, even a role at all really in the book, maybe a minute one. So to see that they changed that a little bit, it was interesting, but it wasn't something that I expected. In the background, we see somebody with 2 katanas. I would assume that's Shoto. So the next part actually is what seems to be a guy in a cape with a sword on the back of a mechanized scorpion that has ostriches flying at him. Now, everybody's kind of figured out this is an Easter egg to Joust, but the big thing is that when you slow it down screen by screen, you actually see when the scorpion shoots the ostrich, it explodes, and it explodes into coins. If it's what I'm seeing, if I'm actually seeing coins, that, as referenced in the later part of the video, is actually a player. And you can kind of see around the scorpion or other ostriches which seem like players on them. Now, it might be IOI people, it might be the Sixers, so it's hard to kind of tell what's going on with that. The person on top of the scorpion, a lot of people are trying to figure out what it is. Could that be the boss from the first key, the copper key? And they switched it around in the movie from what the book was? That's possible, and we'll talk about that a little later. Next, we see an ogre, and not only just an ogre, it's H, we figure out, because he has his name patch in one of the stills that I found. Obviously, this looks like him fighting in the deathmatch arena, which is referenced in the book. He shoots Freddy Krueger on the right. Forward, farther on the right is Duke Nukem, and it's really cool because you see him shooting the assault rifle from Halo, and then he's dodging Duke Nukem's rocket by like splitting himself in half like a robot, which is really cool. But in the context of things, H is totally different than what he was in the book. And everybody that read the book will kind of understand what I mean. And I can kind of say that. It's not really a spoiler. In the book, H was just like a tall, muscular white guy. And they changed it up in the movie. Now the thing is it could be avatars, because we see, this is another aside here, when he shoots Freddy Krueger, he bursts into a shower of coins. And when H reaches his hand out as he's shooting the other people, the coins are being sucked into his hand. But not only that, when you see him explode, when you see that Freddy Krueger explode, he drops items, which would mean that would be an actual character inside of Oasis. It's an actual user, because it's referenced in the book when a character dies, they drop all of their worldly possessions, whether it's an artifact or it's a magical item, they drop them all and their avatar disappears. And that also brings the reference back to Joust then, because I want to say that he was shooting an IOI, a Sixer. And it just kind of makes it all sorts of confusing, which is why we're having this discussion to figure out what might be happening, what could change with the movie, which is really neat. The pure imagination kind of finishes its crescendo there, and it's just like chilling. And it moves on to the next part of the trailer, which is awesome, because Rush starts playing. Tom Sawyer, like, I'm a big Rush fan, and Rush is a big part of the book, actually, too, towards the end, which is really great to hear Tom Sawyer playing. And I get, like, this scene makes me really excited, even though it's coming like totally out of left field. The scene itself is nowhere in the book. You don't find this scene at all. This is totally cooked up by Spielberg and Ernie Klein, which is really neat to see where they're going with this. Because when you're watching that part of the trailer, so you see the Sixers all running towards their cars, and then it shoots over to actual people in the visors running towards their cars. You see their number plate, the 6-6 number plate on their chest there as they're running to their cars. And it's interesting because it does take the book into consideration. In the book, it talks about how sports, like good examples, football, baseball, the avatars actually have to be physical in them. They have more than just the visor and the haptic gloves. They actually have to get up and do stuff. So it's nice to see this like almost NASCAR-esque race where the Sixers are running to their each individual race car and getting in. Aside from that, though, the Sixer actual avatar itself is a little disappointing. In the book, it was explained to me, at least in my aspect, a little bit differently. I mean, I assumed they were just all characters. Now they were just all default characters, so they all look the same, but they're actual characters. These in the movie now look more like robots, which isn't that big of a deal. I mean, I can understand them not wanting to CGI one guy over and over and over, but it would be nice to see it like it was in the book. Although I do see the other side of things, like if we look at the newer Willy Wonka movie with Johnny Depp in it, where they just CGI'd the one Oompa Loompa over and over and over, that was kind of ridiculous. So maybe that's why they didn't want to do it. A robot seems more likely to be just another default character that you can add in. The thing that I want to point out to the book people is, if you notice in the top corner there is like a LED screen that's displaying words, and it says on there, "Win the copper key." And that is another thing I'm like, oh, they're changing up how you get the copper key. What's going on here? Is it like it's like Death Race now? And that's not something that I was wanting to see. The very first key is what really, I mean, the book sucked me in regardless, but the very first key really got me in, and it has to do with D&D. So if they change how that key is won, I'll be a little upset, because that was one of my more memorable parts of the book that I really enjoyed. But it'll be good to see where they go with it. If you notice on the left and right sides, there's actually these blue portal looking things that the Sixers are coming out of. In the book, it does touch on teleportation terminals. So is this a terminal that is referenced in the book where all the Sixers are piling out? Because in the book, it does go through when one of the gates are found, when one of the keys are found, the Sixers totally jam up the portals going into the world. The rest of the trailer plays out pretty awesome. We see the Akira motorcycle, we get to see more of the DeLorean, we get to see the Sixers getting crushed by the wrecking ball, which is really cool. And then at the very end, after it flashes Ready Player One, which is really neat. If you actually look at the Ready Player One logo, it's actually a maze, and at the very end of it is a little Easter egg, which is really neat. So at the very end of the trailer, after Ready Player One flashes, they show the crystal key, which, and it has A on it for Anorak. So the next part of this video is going to be full of spoilers. So if you haven't read the book, I just want to give you ample warning. But before you go, I want to thank you for tuning into my video. I really appreciate you listening to me ramble on and on about this movie. I'm super excited for it, and I can't wait to discuss it more as more trailers come out, because that's the good thing, is more trailers are coming. It's coming out in March, so we can look forward to at least a few more trailers where we can maybe do this more in-depth breakdown and discuss, maybe differences from the book. So thank you for tuning in. Give my video a like if you don't mind, and subscribe, and we'll look forward to more videos that we can discuss stuff with. Thank you. So spoilers, okay. Don't watch anymore if you have not read the book. I'm a little upset. If they changed the copper key, because that's what I was referencing in the video, if they changed how a copper key is won, how you don't have to actually play through the Tomb of Horrors to get the copper key and beat the Demi-Lich at Joust, the arcade machine, I'm going to be a little upset. I mean, I understand things need to change, and not everything necessarily correlates well over to movies. And that's why you kind of feel safe, because Ernest Cline is the co-writer of the screenplay, so he has had direct control over what's going in the movie. I know in the Comic-Con panel he mentioned how not a lot of video game stuff is going to be able to cross over. I really hope that the D&D stuff does. There is more than just that in the movie, as in the book, as far as D&D goes. D&D is referenced a lot, which is really neat, because I've grown to be a huge fan of D&D. I actually have a bunch of dice in my mug here. My wife got me the mug, and it has Star Labs on it. I slapped that logo on it. And it's all my D20s and all my dice I use for D&D. So I'm a huge fan, to say the least. So I really hope that makes it into the movie. If not, I mean, I wonder where they're going with it, because they have this race, win the copper key. They have all the Sixers going for it. They've changed up the front end of the movie. If Wade is not a teenager, if he's not, I think he was 18, 17 or 18. I want to say 18, because Artemis was 19. If he's not graduating high school, I mean, that was a big thing. He was worried he wasn't going to have enough credits to graduate high school. He was missing a lot, so he had the threat of being expelled. I want to see where they go with the beginning of the movie, how they change it. And we didn't see any hint of the Jade key. We saw the crystal key at the very end, which is really neat, with the Anorak initial on it. It'll be cool to see. As far as as far as H goes, now H is another part that I want to talk spoilers about. H was just like a plain white guy, and we all know the twist in the book. We all know the really awesome twist in the book. So it's like, I feel that takes away from that twist a little bit, because, I mean, you know that his character is not who it is, who she is. And to be the ogre, the mechanized ogre, it kind of takes away from that a little bit, because she's trying to like blend into the crowd, because that's how she thought she would, the only way she'd be taken seriously. So, I mean, an ogre isn't bad, but it kind of takes away from that twist just a little bit, because, I mean, it makes it even more, like in the book, they're like, you know, it could be a girl, it could be a guy, talking about any avatar, could be a girl or a guy. But when an avatar chooses to be an orc, necessarily a primarily male race, I mean, it really does kind of like make you think, you know, well, it even more so, it could be a girl or a guy. So there'd be even more mystery. Another part going into the Copper Key race, obviously Parsifal's using the DeLorean, and you can see the Knight Rider strip in the very front in the grill of the DeLorean, or at least it looks like it. The thing is Parsifal didn't get that DeLorean till like midway through the book, after I want to say after he made the climb to 99. That was one of the quests that he went on, got him the DeLorean. So to award it to him early with the Copper Key, I mean, that's why this is a discussion, to see where they're going with this. Like, what did they adapt from the book to make into the movie, to change in the movie, which it'll be fun to see. And the last thing I'm leaving in the video for the spoiler section that all of you've read in the book, at the very end when he pulls off of the visor, if you split frame it slowly, somebody thinks that it's Sorrento's avatar in the reflection of his visor. It doesn't look like Parsifal, it doesn't look like Wade, so I think that it could be Sorrento. If you take a step back and watch that part of the trailer where he takes off the glasses really quickly and put it in conjunction with, you see Sorrento on the front and he's in his hideout, what if that's the part of the movie where Sorrento blows up his aunt's house? Like, to add that into the trailer, that part into the trailer, see how like worried Wade looks. That was really interesting to think about. I just learned that recently today, so that's something I really wanted to bring to the table with you guys. So thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate you guys sitting down to have this chat, and hopefully we can have some good discussion in the comments down below. Please, like I said, take a minute to like and subscribe to the video to let me know that you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, give it a thumbs down. I'm not gonna argue with you. Hopefully fans of the book, this made you think a little bit about the trailer. I know that I've been really thinking about this, and I wanted to bring it to the table. And my wife actually pushed me to make the video because it's a good way to kind of let my nerdness out. Like, I don't have many people to talk to about this, and this would be a good way to kind of open it up to a large discussion. So I hope you participate in that. I need a good outro. Like, I don't know. What's a good outro? Nothing? You got nothing for me? No. So thank everybody for coming, and we'll talk again soon.